Hello and welcome to Module 3 of the Marketer's Guide to Gaming Culture. Please complete the first and second modules before proceeding. This learning content will cover how cultural worldviews affect gaming marketing, an overview of Dove's Real Virtual Beauty Gaming Initiative, plus how to avoid cultural missteps with gaming campaigns. Finally, we will recap key concepts and models you need to retain. That said, let's get started. Unilever's Dove brand is a household name when it comes to skincare products. In 2004, Dove launched the Real Beauty campaign, a pioneering initiative that sought to challenge and redefine traditional beauty standards. Instead of featuring professional models seen in most beauty advertisements, Real Beauty featured real women to showcase a diverse range of body types, ages, and ethnicities. Most importantly, the campaign was a breakthrough success, where the Dove Real Beauty Sketches, a 3-minute film short, is the most viewed video ad on YouTube with over 165 million views. The same film won 19 awards at Cannes Lions. Dove's revenues also jumped from $2.5 billion to $4 billion in the campaign's first 10 years. Real Beauty, which is still deeply relevant 20 years later, sought to redefine beauty standards that leave many women feeling inadequate or insecure. These standards have long been dictated by society through media and entertainment. In other words, they are culturally prescribed ideas and premises. So, we will introduce the concept of a worldview as how members of a culture view the world, where things like unattainable standards of beauty are, unfortunately, part of these worldviews. Likewise, cultural worldviews can and do factor into video game experiences. That's because gaming audiences come from all over the world and are influenced by so many different cultures. Said differently, the gaming community is not a mythical place unaffected by mainstream culture and society. Gamers also aren't an isolated population. Rather, a game community can attract people from certain cultural backgrounds, where the related gaming behaviors can provide an opportunity to express bias. They are not the source of bias, however. The good news is game experiences aren't just a passive window into biases. They can also positively impact how people see themselves and others. For example, a study published in the November 2014 Games for Health journal suggested that gameplay can reduce implicit bias by effectively inducing empathy. So, to illustrate an effective gaming strategy that accounts for both sides, let's unpack Dove's Real Beauty extension into gaming. In 2022, Dove launched Real Virtual Beauty. Since, according to research from Dove, 60% of teen girls began gaming by age 10. 74% of girls wish characters in video games looked more like women in real life. And 62% of women feel misrepresented in gaming. So, Real Virtual Beauty committed to building a global character art collection that better represents female characters in virtual worlds. Game developers will be able to access the collection, free of charge. The initiative also includes an online course designed to educate developers, creators and artists about beauty and diversity in gaming. Real beauty is relevant in gaming because the same cultural worldviews which negatively impact beauty representations in mainstream media and entertainment also affect the virtual realm. That's important because just like Evo won recognition as a mainstream cultural ritual, video game characters can become pop culture icons. So, it's especially important for in-game representations to avoid perpetuating harmful bias. To demonstrate, in 2024, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, revealed that Lara Croft, star heroine of the Tomb Raider franchise, topped their top 20 list of video game characters. Since her in-game debut in 1996, Lara Croft has appeared in over 15 game titles, 3 films, multiple novelizations and comic book adaptations, plus a planned Netflix animated series. However, Lara has also been central in claims that female video game characters are largely created as objects of male fantasy, as opposed to relatable feminine representations. Since, in her earliest incarnations, Lara sported a skin-tight tank top highlighting a chest as wide as her hips and khaki short shorts. Once again, unrealistic beauty expectations for women neither start nor end in gaming. Instead, they are cultural products. Outside of gaming, a study published in the 2019 edition of the Evolutionary Behavioral Sciences also found that Disney princesses have extremely small waist-to-hip ratios that are nearly impossible to achieve naturally. That means Dove is not only leveling up playable experiences by providing tools for healthier and more diverse beauty representations. It is also using gaming to amplify Real Beauty's overall mission of boosting self-esteem and confidence for all women. That's possible because video games are fluid experiences that brands and marketers can not only spark conversations about, but also shape to a certain degree. The ability to shape game experiences is important because they also impact worldviews. Where Dove is tapping into video game characters as in-game touchpoints. Since they are not only prominent parts of a game's playable experience, but they can also serve as cultural symbols and heroes that impact how people see themselves in the world. For instance, Lara Croft's early origins were, as Adrian Smith, one of her creators, described in a 2000 interview, frail. Someone you'll want to protect and nurture. Over 20 years later, she is being reframed as a feminist icon. One which Brianna Wu, a former game developer and former congressional candidate, said in a 2018 Vox interview, "I know I identify fiercely with her, and I'm not the only one." Now, let's review an example of why neglecting to consider worldviews like these is a strategic mistake for gaming marketing activities. In summer 2020, League of Legends developer Riot Games ended its partnership with proposed $500 billion Saudi Arabian city Neom. The partnership between the futuristic city and the League of Legends European Championship, LEC, ended just a day after its announcement. Mostly due to significant criticism from the entire League of Legends community. Since throughout the day of its announcement, everyone from Riot Games employees, League of Legends esports personnel, and fans spoke out against the partnership on social media. The main issue was Saudi Arabia's poor history of human rights violations. A history linked to claims that at least 20,000 members of an indigenous tribe faced eviction so Neom could be built. Others also pointed out the irony of Riot Games posting the announcement while displaying her LGBTQ pride-themed Twitter avatar, given the treatment of LGBTQ people in Saudi Arabia. In other words, Neom's presence did not resonate with the cultural worldview of many in the League of Legends community. Ones which prize inclusion and freedom of expression. Keep in mind that some did not oppose the partnership. Since, once again, people bring different worldviews to game communities. However, the backlash was strong enough that Riot had to quickly reverse course. This instance exemplifies that even though video games are typically off-limits for politics, religion and so forth, people still experience games through their worldviews, which are inevitably tied to things like political and religious viewpoints. An effective gaming strategy considers how well a brand's message and/or presence resonates with target audience worldviews, as a result. Now, let's review key concepts and models covered in this module. A worldview is a set of culturally prescribed ideas and premises. Worldviews, unfortunately, contain bias which affect how people experience video games. Likewise, people instrumental to game experiences introduce bias. For instance, Lara Croft's creators infused her early depictions with their own bias. She, and the early Tomb Raider game titles, simply reflected that bias. Dove's real virtual beauty is relevant in gaming for the same reason. Since it addresses unrealistic beauty standards in video games, where those standards are not an intractable feature. Rather, game experiences are flexible. That means marketers have an opportunity to positively shape them and, by doing so, influence worldviews. That said, worldviews aren't just the source of bias. As Neom's cancelled partnership with Riot Games demonstrated, they can as easily consist of positive views of the world. Where the League of Legends community quickly spoke against the partnership based on values like inclusivity and human freedoms. Either way, effective marketing strategies must consider the cultural worldviews of target gaming audiences. Otherwise, the message and/or brand risks a black eye. This concludes the third module of the Marketer's Guide to Gaming Culture. Please check out more learning content to continue your journey with the Gaming Marketing Institute. That way you can level up your career or business through gaming marketing. Once again, thank you, and goodbye.